Tonight's episode is sponsored by Energy Rocks.
Remember Pop Rocks? Imagine if they ditched the sugar crash and grew up into something actually useful. That's Energy Rocks. Popping candy crystals loaded with clean energy and real focus. These little sachets pack fast-acting caffeine, L-theanine to keep you calm and sharp, and B12 for that extra kick. All with just 4 grams of sugar.
In under 3 minutes, you feel it. No pills to swallow, no energy drinks bloating your belly, no weird gummy textures. Just pour these little pineapple mango or cherry berry crystals in your mouth, and boom, you're back in the game.
Whether you're grinding through work, parenting on fumes, or gaming into the night, Energy Rocks are pocket-sized lifesavers.
Grab yours at EnergyRocks.store and use code COCKTAILS20OFF for 20% off your order. That's COCKTAILS20OFF at EnergyRocks.store. Candy finally grew up
And got caffeinated.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
I gotta stop saying that or we're gonna get the fucking violation.
Well, that's all right.
What if I just talk it? Let's just talk through it. Lava. Chicken. No, I can't. I gotta sing it. Steve lava chicken, yeah, it's tasty as hell.
It's not the same unless you're singing it.
It's not. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Busted out the Elvis.
Elvis whiskey on the table. We got a sponsor on the table. Fuck yes. I'm gonna do this right now. Our sponsor for this episode, our friends at Energy Rocks.
Explosively delicious.
Pop rocks with caffeine.
Caffeine boost equals 2 cups of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Support mood and focus.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere, anytime. There it is. We're going to black out for a minute. He's going to blow me quick.
You go.
We're going to open the tavern now because that's amazing to listen to. All our MSR people were just loving it right now.
Maddie would be so mad at you. It's ASMR.
It is ASMR.
You fucking idiot. Anyway,
I mess it up every time. That's a lot of letters in a row.
Speaking of being a fucking idiot.
What'd you do now?
I didn't do anything.
Oh.
We got that picture drawn of us. It'll be up here soon. And I want to give them a preview because my daughter saw our caricature that we had done. I'm sorry, I forgot the artist. We'll remember his name when we.
Well, okay.
Anyway,
when we put it up, we'll talk to him. We'll mention it.
We'll mention him. My daughter saw the picture and she mentioned how your head looks. What?
I could smell that fruity.
Oh, how your head? He drew your head kind of long.
Yeah,
and how that's right because that's what your head looks like. And then she asked if she could draw a picture of you.
Nice.
And I said, of course you can. And she said, okay, because he kind of looks like this hot dog guy. And I said, okay. So there's a picture of you.
That's the greatest picture of me ever. The light. Come on. God damn it. Turn it.
So good job, kiddo.
Look at that.
Nailed it. So that is just a preview
of.
We'll get the caricature
of me.
She was so proud.
She should be. I gotta thank her.
And she said,
okay.
She said, Kevy Wevy, my Uncle Kev, love you. And then she had to say in parentheses, this is what you look like.
I look like a hot dog turned the sideways.
You look like a hot dog.
Excellent.
Hot dog man. She said she's going to start calling you hot dog man.
Well, she's got a lot of different names for me.
I said, okay, that's cool. That's
I love it.
Probably as true as anything else about you.
So I look like a hot dog. Not a hamburger.
Nope. Hot dog.
A hot dog.
Yeah. I was like, wow. All right. I can't say I ever saw that, but kids have great imaginations and
better than mine.
Yeah.
Because I was worried you're gonna be like, you look like a hot dog man. I'm thinking, okay, who on the internet has got like a hot dog stand or something that reminds me of it. And I was thinking,
The hot dog. You could have been the Oscar Mayer wiener.
did you know what they had the other day?
What?
They had a race of all the Wienermobiles.
Oh, really? Where
Yeah.
was this?
A racetrack.
Oh. So there's more than one of them?
Yeah, they're all over the country.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know there was more than one. I just thought they traveled all over the country with one.
Yeah. I bet you there was good 6 or 8 of them that were in the race.
So they raced all of them. Wouldn't they be virtually tied? They're the same piece of equipment.
Well, just like a golf cart. They're not all. Some are faster than others.
sure.
Some are worn out than others, or whatever the case may be. Because I'm a mechanic.
Comes down to the better driver, I guess. When everything's equal, that's what NASCAR's trying to do, right?
Someone was able to control their wiener better than the others.
I would crash in corner one.
Crash.
It'd be like a bloody blowjob.
I would like. There's an
Intent.
Maybe I did not. It was max speed was like 40 or something like that. So it was not racing.
My wiener moves faster than that.
Does it? At this age, maybe when you're younger, it might have. I'm thinking now you're.
I would be willing. This is
Wow.
I don't know why we're doing this on the intro to another wonderful episode with wonderful, nice people. I'm going to say this in
with
the intro.
with a wholesome energy rocks.
The wholesome new sponsor, Energy Rocks, safe for kids. No, don't let your kids eat them.
You see, how many do you have? I had 4 packs today, Dad. These are great.
This is an adult podcast. Remember that. Turn it off right now if there's kids in the car. I would be willing to bet that for my age, I can fuck just as fast as anybody else. No, that never took a corner. I've been trying to say that for the past minute. We've just been avoiding it. That didn't take a corner.
Well, I wish you would have continued to avoid it since.
I'm just saying.
I mean, Wienermobiles are, yeah, all right. Well, okay, well.
40 miles an hour.
I guess if anybody out there wants to challenge them,
Yeah.
I guess I'll be the ref.
Yeah. No, you will not.
I'll have to. Well, I have to. Somebody's got to.
No. I'm going to hire an impartial independent. You wouldn't fucking. No, you would.
Well, we'd have to put.
You wouldn't ref fairly.
I would have to. I'm assuming you'd both be next to each other.
You're like the special referee in a wrestling match who's friends with one of the guys and not friends with the other.
So if you were next to the dude, 20-year-old dude, and I put my hand and I counted how many pumps per minute,
that's going to affect my pumping.
I would push. I would just feel it.
Yeah, no.
You think I would be?
That's going to affect my pumping. I can't pump as fast when somebody's touching me. Anyway, so tonight on the podcast we have Steve LaMorte and Amy Schumacher from the film Screamboat.
Never mind. I won't take it to another level. You're welcome. I was gonna.
I kind of think that based on one of the kills in the movie, they're fine with the conversation.
I can't wait to talk about that kill.
Yes, so we're all crazy up here.
I mean, there's some kills are standard kills, which are you got to introduce, but they had some good ones.
Yeah.
Which again,
it's got to be hard to keep being creative.
That's what I want to talk about. How do you say? Because there's so many horror movies,
right?
Everybody's
and people that love horror movies watch. Like I think more so than any other movie genre. Like people who love horror movies watch a lot of horror movies.
They do.
You know, like if you like comedies, you know what I mean. Like horror tend to be a little obsessive with horror movies. So if you're a horror movie fan, you've seen a lot of kills.
Because you're looking for the next cool kill, the next outdid the last kill.
Right. So it's rare when somebody shocks you anymore.
Right. And you see some and you're like, they were standard.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely some new.
But boy, that was a great love story. No, that doesn't happen.
It's not every day you see somebody get hacksawed from pussy to head. I mean, you got to get creative.
Which was not in Screamboat.
Nope.
But
probably filmed on Staten Island, though.
But there is a connection.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably filmed on Staten Island.
There's a connection there.
So
there's a big connection, which is cool. Again, we've said it before. We'll bring it up when we talk to them, but this community that they have of all these independent horror movies, the more we dig into it, the more it's delightful to see.
We're going to be on the big screen sooner than you know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I mean, our beautiful logo is going to be on the big screen sooner than you know.
And I'm
excited.
Yeah.
I don't think we've been offered parts yet, but our shirt has.
It's been coming. It's coming.
Our shirt's been offered a part.
Here's what we need to do.
What?
We need to have an audition the next time we have someone on. Like a direct, so that we can be like, excuse us, we're going to do something for you. Have a pre-planned audition and then say, cut, and see if they want to put us in their next movie.
Oh.
Right? Like a little, come up,
I don't really want to be an actor. Not with lines. I'm fine being in the background. I wouldn't mind getting killed by a serial killer.
So that could be the scene.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to just sit in the back.
Yeah, you do. You just go.
Right. You have to do that. So we could do that.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could be like, what's a good one?
I could eat a peaches for hours.
But you can't.
I could eat a peach for hours.
Like nothing.
I know. But
nothing.
If I do nothing right now, it's dead air.
So we could do it. We could audition for him after. We could be like having.
I'm not prepared. I need to be in the right headspace. Can you just do your thing? Now you got me all intimidated and nervous. I got to sit in front of a director and worry about auditioning. Can't we just
want to do it?
Can't we just put it on tape?
You can't send it to all of them ahead of time.
Yeah. Can't we just put it on tape? Isn't that what they're doing these days? Put it on tape.
We can.
Yeah.
Lame. Hey,
Well,
everybody, if you want more lameness,
I'm better on tape than I am
check
live.
us out.
Ask my wife.
On
I'm really fast, but really bad. Check us out where?
Yep, promote it. Yep, promote that, buddy. Promote that.
Whatever.
Go check us out on Instagram. We're getting there. We're climbing up. Help us climb more. Leave a comment there. Go to YouTube. Subscribe. Leave a comment as well. I'm going to push comments because we love them. And
he answers all of them.
Put the little notification bell, and you could be the first to hear that coming on. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on XXX. And we appreciate it. But yeah, leave a comment. We get to them all. There's a lot sometimes, but we eventually get to them. So we better. We don't want to keep a handsome and pretty lady waiting.
Handsome and pretty lady, or a handsome man and a pretty lady?
Well, a handsome man and a pretty lady.
All right. So without further ado, the director of Screamboat, Stephen LaMorte, and the producer and star of Screamboat, Amy Schumacher. So thank you for joining us, Stephen LaMorte and Amy Schumacher, the dynamic duo behind Screamboat, which we watched and loved, and can't wait to talk about it and hear some of the behind the scenes fun and all that good stuff. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us. We're so glad you guys got to see the film and have enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. We tried to do this before the theatrical release, but obviously you guys were busy.
Obviously.
So I wish we had a chance to see it in the theater, because it is one of those movies that I think deserves to be seen on the big screen.
It would be fun
with a big group of people. It was great at home, but I'm sure it was even better in the theater.
I mean, honestly, it was such a blast. I mean, we made this film to be sort of a bombastic, big screen, theatrical, fun time, a fun experience at the movies. So going to see it with audiences and having them sort of laugh at the jokes and, really be able to appreciate the music and hear the mouse running around behind you in 5.1. Like it was so much fun. Such a great, silly time at the theater.
And it's so cool that indie horror is making its way back to the theaters.
Yeah.
And you're starting, I just saw Clown in a Cornfield a few weeks ago. And it's great to be able to see movies like that in the theater again, because for a while they just didn't seem to make their way in or very limited. So it's cool that they're back.
Yes, they don't make it easy on us to get in, but the time that we had in was awesome.
Yeah.
So
makes such a
and
difference.
obviously it's the bigger cities, so I think once you get a branch out, we're not Milwaukee'd be the biggest city closest, and I don't know if it was there, but either way, thank you for pushing for it. So what do you have to jump through to get it in the theaters as opposed to just streaming? Which it's jump through hoops both ways, right?
You know,
we're always jumping.
Yeah.
We're always jumping. It's all working in entertainment is all hoops.
It's because it's ever changing, like per weekend or per big theatrical release, it changes the availability and the space and what the different chains are willing to give to indie filmmakers and things like that. So we went into this one knowing we were going to get a theatrical release of some size.
Okay.
And we wanted this to be a theatrical movie. A group experience. And because we did a little like road show before it released in theaters, we got to see it with audiences 3 or maybe 4 times and hear them laugh. And that was the best part, because like people laugh all at the same time, at the same joke, right? There's one like a cheesy like quip about Disney or some reference that you know of and you heard and you hear everybody hear it at the same time is sort of the best part of that.
Yeah,
well, it's Amy. Oh, I was going to say, Amy, I think you were the killer of the one-liners in the movie.
I have
every
some good
one-liner was awesome.
Thank you.
Now, with that writing the script, Steven, how do you come up with those one-liners? And do they just fall into place, or do they happen while you're filming later on?
It's a combination of both. I mean, we really work really hard to make sure that our sets are like a collaborative environment. And of course, any independent filmmaker, you're always up against the clock. You're always trying to do as much as you can with a finite number of resources. And, for us, we started with a script that had a lot of one-liners. And there was definitely there's like a 2-hour version of the movie that exists that I don't think is the best version of this movie, but has every single one of those jokes in. I kind of take like a machine gun approach where, do I have one Disney reference per page, in the movie as we're shooting it, and then and then people are trying to one up each other, and the makeup is putting a hidden Willie on someone's head, or art is putting 3 circles in the background somewhere, So we find places to incorporate different Disney references, and then once you get to the point where you start showing the movie, and whether you're test screening it or even just watching it cut together, you start to feel like, okay, get on with the jokes, guys. You are in danger. Like, let's keep it moving, So there are certain points where like, okay, how many jokes is too many jokes before these characters should be scared again. And we really wanted to keep it fun and moving, but not let the jokes take precedence over the story or the horror. And then there's some that just fell into place in post-production. There's some where, we're shooting in the water, and we're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could throw some Disney references in the water so we can go back to the studio and shoot little elements and drop them in. And it's just such a fun creative process. I think there's something sometimes when you're a writer and director and you get too married to the source material, or not the source material, because the source material is important, but you get too married to the script as it was written. You don't leave yourself room for fun, happy accidents or interesting things that you find. It can often hinder the movie. So I try to keep myself open, have a really good plan, and then if need be, we deviate from it, and we can create something really, really fresh and alive, because we're not just locked into a plan we made 6 months ago.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'd imagine you don't have a lot of room for retakes. Do you ever get to do like one-liners, like 3 different one-liners within the same situation and pick the best? Or
within the script, there were a couple of places where we as actors didn't necessarily know. We were like, I say this and then this and then this. And then finally Steven told us like, no, it's going to be one of them. So we're going to shoot all 3 of these different jokes. We're going to pick one of the jokes. But we did probably 3 to 4 takes on some stuff, always at least 2.
I try to shoot the comedy things with multiple cameras. This way we have sort of the luxury of I can shoot more takes and not need to do more, like move the camera and do more setups. And a lot of times that gives the actors the freedom to play, because I really think, I like my comedies to move, right? And so I think being able to let the actors play off of each other, even if they are saying the same lines, maybe this one they're leaning into the joke, maybe this time they're blowing right past it, or sometimes they're chewing the scenery, and we want that. So you just don't know, and I like to have a lot of options when I get to the edit, because I just think the pacing has to be it has to move, and it has to be almost musical. And I think if you get locked into something too early, then you end up with a film that can feel uneven. So I like to have the options to craft it. And I know that I have final cut on the movie, so I don't have to worry about someone changing it. It's just going to be me and the edit.
Okay, well, and then I want to get into the premise of the movie, but I was going to ask that. Who has final say? Amy, have you ever had he picked the line and you like, I really like the other one better? And you already answered. Do you have final say, or does she get to trump you sometimes?
I have a strong influence. I feel I'd like to think.
As a married directing and producing
Happy wife,
couple,
happy life.
yeah. Well, look, when we were dating, I used to think the director was in charge, and now that we're married, my opinion on that has evolved.
I like that. Evolved, not changed. It evolved.
You are a smart man,
Right?
But as he's doing the edit and stuff, of course, like as an actor, I'm like, wait, why are you cutting? There's a scene my character has that was like a big emotional scene, and when he initially told me that they were paring it back, and then eventually most of the scene got taken out, and I was kind of frustrated at first, but then I watched the movie and I watched the scene, and in the context, I'm like, oh, it's better. The movie is better without it.
Sure.
So
Gotcha.
we put our love into it, and other actors had their, big scenes taken, not their big scene, but like big scenes taken out. And that's just how it goes.
Sure.
So my producer brain tells me, make the best movie we can, even if we have to cut it, to shreds. And the actor side of me is like, but like, maybe not my scenes, of course.
Well, and I think there's also too. Sometimes we have to try things, right? We have to try things and show it to people and see, especially with a comedy, is this funny? Does this work? Sometimes you have to be able to like kill your darlings and show something to a group of people and be like, where do they reach for their phones? Okay, all right, there's a temptation, I think, especially from the distributor and some of the powers above us, if you will. They wanted the movie to be really short, and they're like, oh, you can cut the talking, just do more mouth scenes. I'm like, but then nobody cares. We don't know who these characters are. No one will care. I can make a 58-minute version of this movie that's basically a special effects makeup demo reel. Like, well, no one's going to sit through that. Like, these kills are funny because of the talking that came before, not because of how good the gore gag is. So it's this constant battle, I think, to make the best movie possible, satisfy all of your partners, but also, make something that we like. Because I think the second you try to make everybody happy, no one's going to love it. Everyone might think it's fine, but no one can love something that doesn't have the opportunity for some people to hate it, in my opinion.
You mean like a shitty Marvel movie that we've seen like 25 times?
Look, I enjoy those films. Yeah. I think there's a place for them, but you can definitely tell when an idea was like committed to death, and you're like, well, that's the safe choice. Because I feel like I
enjoy the first couple. I just don't enjoy the last 37 of them. I've kind of worn out of them. First of all, I can't keep up with them, and then I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. So I just want to mention before we get any further that we might, if you haven't seen the movie yet, go and watch it before, because there might be a spoiler or two, just in case people. I don't think we've said anything yet that.
No, but I would love to get into the premise and how you even came up with the concept to attack Mickey Mouse.
Yes, that's our boy. That's what we did. We went after him for sure. Well, after our last film, The Mean One, which was based on another very popular children's character whose name I can't say.
That's
Christmas,
not in public domain.
Who's not in public domain. It was a parody.
What is his name in the movie? Ed Finch? Is that what
Mike Finch.
The guy's name is Mike Finch. That's right. Another familiar Christmas-hating green grouch in a Santa suit. We knew we wanted to do another character, and we're like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to follow up with? And I'm a big believer that you can't make a movie just because you have to like tick a box, or just because someone is asking you to make it. Like, you have to find, do you have a story to tell? And so we kept trying to find these characters that were currently in the public domain, and it was just hitting my head against the wall. And Amy said, if you don't have a story to tell, we've got no movie. So is there a movie that you'd want to make next? Take the public domain character out of the equation. Is there a movie you'd want to make next that would be the best thing for us to pursue? And I said, well, I've always wanted to make a horror movie on the Staten Island ferry. And so I started pulling on that thread a little bit, and I'm like, okay, well, I know what that movie would be about, but what character would go in there? And I did a little research into what was coming into the public domain, and I saw Steamboat Willie. I said, well, they're probably not going to do that and let him go into the public domain, but that'd be the best monster for our Staten Island ferry horror movie. Yeah. And we started pulling on it, and I said, the closer we got, the more it looked like he was going to go into the public domain. And I said, well, let's bake that into the DNA of the film. And if he doesn't go into public domain because they pull a fast one and change copyright law again, we'll just scrap the movie, because I really want it to not just be a Michael Myers knockoff, starring Steamboat Willie. I wanted it to be a Steamboat Willie horror film that really, really was him. And he went into the public domain. We announced the movie, and the rest is history.
Did you get any cease and desist letters or any flack from Disney?
No, we haven't.
Not that we're aware of.
We put, yeah, right. Not that we, yeah. Maybe we
My
didn't
Disney-
answer the door that day.
My Disney Plus subscription hasn't been working in the last 6 months, so that's kind of weird. But,
That can't be a coincidence.
there's probably something. They updated the terms of service. It says you're not allowed to make a Steamboat Willie horror movie.
They've got to know we exist. No doubt
Yeah.
they do.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we put a lot of effort into honoring the IP and
Yeah.
Steamboat Willie, not doing a crossover that he is Mickey Mouse. He falls in, so that's he's black and white. He wears his hat. He can't talk. And put those bumpers actually, I think, created some fun, more artistic challenges anyway.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we put effort into, not needing to have them knock on our door.
Yeah.
So, but how much fun was it to incorporate all those Easter eggs and all that stuff?
It was like a nostalgia tour, because there are some in
Yeah.
there that I didn't know were even Disney references. And I love Disney, so I know a lot of them. That we had some actors who knew every single one right away, and others that didn't have any idea. But every time you're like, oh, it's from that movie. That movie's from my childhood. It was like a love letter,
And I think there's something inherently tricky about, you want to come up with a new idea, and like, how many different ways can you call a spaceship or a laser gun, or here's a new superhero. He's a vigilante, but he's not one of the 1,000 that have been done. There's something like really cool about being able to say, no, we're doing the thing. The cartoon that I loved as a kid, the character that's in the parks, like we actually get to take that toy out from behind the glass where it's been locked forever, and really make a legitimate version of this, bring him to life, create a character, get to have fun with it. I mean, I really do believe there's some people who think that we hate these characters because we did the mean one, and because we did this, and they're, without seeing the film, they're thinking that, we must have some negative opinion, and we're trying to stick it to some big corporation. And there's a little bit of poking fun at them for sure. But for me, there are no Steamboat Willie cartoons that are made for someone my age, someone that is into the things that I'm into. When I was a kid, I liked cartoons. Now I like horror movies. I like action films. I like sort of big zany things. And I think that being able to make a Steamboat Willie horror film for me was like, I reconnected with my love of this thing that's now being presented in a way of a new thing that I love. So I think for the right adult who maybe loved Steamboat Willie or wasn't a fan before, that comes to our film for horror, they might reconnect to something, some childlike wonder inside, because he really is Steamboat Willie. And that was such a blast.
Yeah.
It was. And I did exactly that. I never once thought you were trying to be mean to them.
Nope.
Or anything. I thought it was, let's just bring it to what I love and honor it. And I felt you really did honor it.
Thank you. We
With
appreciate
blood.
that. With a lot of blood. That's
Yeah,
right.
with
Well, we
blood.
got to have a little fun with it, right? I mean, that's, we can poke fun at them, and I think it's a loving homage.
How many gallons of fake blood?
So many.
Too much. I mean,
Lost count.
the captain scene alone had so much blood. And if you haven't seen the movie, there's you definitely check it out. It's on all the usual spots. Amazon, you could rent it on your TV. You can get the DVD, Blu-ray, all that stuff. There's one scene in the captain's quarters. I won't say what happens, but there was so much blood, and it sprayed in so many
Everywhere.
places. And Gravity just had it out for us that day, that we needed to bring in a special team just to clean all the blood off of it. And we didn't get all of
The
it.
ceiling,
The
under you
windows.
move something and there's more blood. On our walkthrough, trying to finally do one walkthrough cleaning out the boat, you'd walk by and see, we just fully missed one whole dripping streak down the wall of the boat. Or you open a door and inside the crack is just filled.
Right. I think there's
It was
floor
everywhere.
panels that the floor looked clean, but it was bubbled. And I'm like, and you step on it and it's like you're like, that's squishy.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it was great.
I love it.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's the perk of doing an independent film is, you can just kind of push the limits and try stuff. And because we're using real, gallons and gallons of real blood and real practical gore gags. There's a certain element of it that has to be really planned out because it only looks cool from one angle, and you have to light it a certain way and edit it a certain way. But there's another element where once the blood starts spraying, like we have like one spare shirt, we don't really have the ability to, or the schedule, like we could clean it up, but we like really can't. So there's a certain element where like blood hits the lens. It was not supposed to do that. It looks awesome. It feels unpredictable to the audience because we didn't mean for it to happen. And there's something just really like real and fun that I think is the benefit of an indie film is you're trying to capture as much lightning as you can in the bottle you can afford. And, when it's done, you end up with something that with too much money might not have been possible.
Exactly.
Well, if you had too much, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the boat is the decommissioned ferry. So there is no active running water. Like there's the locker room scene, you might remember. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of blood in that scene. And so it's not like we can just bring a hose in and just hose the room down. Or if you get sprayed with blood or covered in blood, it's not like we can take the actor to the shower room and, okay, jump in the shower and whatever. Like once you're in it, we're like, well, now we might as well commit because we're all sticky and it's, we're doing this now.
It was a good time.
So now I heard go ahead.
I was going to say before I did the captain scene, which I think is my favorite. I mean, obviously there's another scene that's funnier, but that I thought the way he got killed was amazing, and I don't want to give too much away, and that blood splatter was worth it. But then I just said you just totally reenacted the Steamboat Willie scene, which was, I thought, perfected.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was one of those moments. It's sort of pinch me moment, right? I mean, most of it's David Howard Thornton, but some of it is a puppet because David is 6'2" and with a hat and with giant ears, he's like 6'8". And the Steamboat Willie is supposed to be, his size is modeled after that very famous statue Partners with where Walt Disney is holding, Mickey Mouse's hand and they're standing in front of the big castle. So, being able to like actually frame that shot up, not just have it drawn on a storyboard, not just seeing the cartoon, but having like a little furry guy. He's on wires that we removed with visual effects, but attached to the wheel and see like the little foot tapping and the dead body and the blood is everywhere. I'm like, man, we're like recreating animation history. It's been done a million times, but never once has it been done like this. Yeah. And that was really cool. That was a special day. I have photos from being on set that day and I'm grinning from ear to ear. Yeah. I'm like, I cannot believe whoever they is letting us do this. It was so cool.
And I think that's the hardest scene to shoot, that scene. We shot that scene, I think, on 4 different occasions.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Small, big, in New York,
LED
in LA,
wall,
on an LED wall.
Like in a train, on a plane, in a tank.
There's the regular size captain, but then there's the super big captain. When David's doing it, that's the scene, one of the scenes where we really had to utilize the props because regular size props that the puppet used, and then the big props that David used.
Yeah.
And so we had a massive steering wheel and a massive cable uses, for the sawing.
LED wall. I mean, every filmmaking technique in the book went into bringing that scene to life, and it was so important that we capture it dutifully, and that it was still fun, and it was horrifying. But then, being able to have a live 30-piece orchestra playing that song. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. The music is awesome. Yael Benamor and Chal Henry. I mean, it's on Spotify. You can hear it. I mean, they reworked this theme and they gave it that sort of psycho violin edge, but still kept it fun and playful. And it took them so long. They're like, Steve, most horror movies do not have this. And I'm like, I know, but we're not most horror movies. Damn it! Yeah. This amazing Macedonian orchestra play my silly symphony of slaughter. Like, do it.
Wow. Well, I need to tell you, all your hard work paid off because that was an amazing scene. It was worth all your time. I'm not just saying that. I smiled like you did when I was watching it. Just smiled watching that mouse steer the boat and whistle.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. Well, if anyone hasn't seen it, you got to go see the movie to check it out. So,
there.
I'm curious because when I went into the movie, I didn't know that the mouse was going to be small. From anything I had seen, I assumed we were talking about a full size. How difficult was it? And did you, the thought of having to do all of these things to make it work like it did, did you ever think about saying, screw it, let's just make the most David Howard Thornton size? Or was he always going to be small?
He was not always going to be small. It was very early on that we decided to make him small. And it was really one of those, like, are you sure? Are you? And every producer on the movie was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, no, this is the way to make it really funny, to do the character justice. He's got to be tiny. If he's big, it's like a theme park mascot. And I don't want to say anyone could do it, because not anyone can do what David does. Nope. But there's just something about making him small where we knew this was the way to go. This would set the film apart. It would be the most true to the character. And there were definitely days where we're thinking about, like, how much easier we could just shoot.
This scene would be done.
The scene would be done. The movie will be out in December. Like, we could get this thing done, and quick. But a lot of very talented artists worked really hard to not only build the things that we needed, the weird little props, to make the patchwork of gags that all came together to make the scene click. But there's also a lot of trust, and the actors had to trust in each other and trust me that the thing they're looking at that maybe wasn't there or was just a puppet and not David was going to be funny and scary and all the things it was supposed to be. So it was a real challenge. I'm a different man than when we started. I think a small part of me is dead from having done it. But I think it was worth it, and it was the right choice. And there's something, it changes the way you can do the kills. It changes the tone of the movie, like everything about it. If he was just standing there whistling at a full-size wheel or doing any of these kills as like a man in a mascot suit, I just think it would be like darker, when you see him sitting on a forklift and cackling and clapping his hands and the wheel is oversized. Like, I just think that's the only way to make this funny is to do it like that. And we sort of teased his size in the lead up to it. And I think once people went to the theater, they're like, wait, he's small? And I think it really makes for a fun reveal.
It does, yeah.
100%. I'd love to correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it Christian Beckman that created him? And I looked him up because he did a great job, and he's got a heck of a resume.
Yes. So Christian Beckman at Quantum Creations, they designed the puppet that was basically David's stand-in, and then the suit that David wore. And Margaret Prentice did all the makeup application and stuff. And look up her resume; she's a veteran. Brilliant.
This is good. Yes.
The concept art was drawn initially by Christian Cordella, who also has a crazy resume. So the two Christians sort of got together with Steven's vision and obviously your direction to make something that works, so that once he was big and they had him designed, he looks great. But to shrink him down and make the proportions the right size, it was a weird thing. We're like, all of a sudden he doesn't look quite right, but why? Or, all of those different elements of it. And Christian Beckman built the hand puppet, a water puppet, a bone raku puppet, that he puppeteered all of it.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
So how many of them, the puppets, were there?
I mean,
3,
I think there's at least 5.
Oh, really?
Well, because some of them like fit together like Transformers, or I guess it's more like Voltron. So like you have, we have a biting puppet. Don't roll the eyes. I just had an idea.
What a giant nerd you are. I could just see it on her face.
Love
you have to. She knows at this point what she married. We have like one puppet that bites, and that's all it does, and it doesn't have legs. We have one puppet that's just a torso, it's legs and feet that walk. We have one puppet that's a full body thing you can attach to someone and fight with. They have different faces, kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas. They use different faces to tell different things.
Sure.
One that went in the water.
There's one that went in the water, and his mouth sprays blood, so it looks like when he's biting, the blood's coming out of the person. I mean, it's just wild. Right. We have the dumbest, most amazing job.
So, where can I get one?
We're working on it.
My God,
we are really working on it, because every day somebody asks for it.
When can we get one? Yeah, we're working on it for sure.
I'm not sure Walmart's going to carry that.
I think probably not.
You never know. We didn't think Walmart was going to take the mean one, and they can't seem to keep them things on the shelf. So
there you go.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get a little vendor truck and be down at downtown Disney. Right outside.
We'll just be right outside, just wheeling a push cart. Hey, I got that Steamboat Willie. You want it?
You might get a cease and desist letter for that.
That might get it. That might do it.
That might push the edge. The Disney jail is way worse than regular jail. I'm not. No way.
Totally worth it.
Wait.
Totally worth
have
it.
you been in Disney jail?
I cannot comment on that.
Okay, all right. I did hear a rumor going back to the kills, a happy accident, that maybe one of these kills, there was too much fake blood. You hit the wrong, you zigged when you should have zagged or something, and there ended up being way too much fake blood.
That's real.
Yes,
Happens.
that is a real thing. Well, we have a it wasn't an accident. It was a happy accident, right?
Yeah.
Everything went the way it was supposed to in terms of the planning and the rigging and what we were going to do. But we have we use different blood hoses for different gags. So if it's like a slice, the tip of the hose is vertical. If it's supposed to be like a bullet, it's small. If it's supposed to be gushing, it's big. So we were rigged up to do a different blood spray. Like the blood was just going to hit the windows and hit the glass, but the sun's setting and, it's supposed to be, we're running out of time. So I said, well, can we let's do the shot where the blood comes off the guy's neck. And they said, we can, but we're rigged up to shoot it at the walls to really give you the spray you wanted. It's going to probably be too much. I said, no, it'll be fine. But, the assistant director's looking at me. She's like, we have to shoot it now. And the boat seats 3,000. So he's like, if I'm going to go get this other sprayer, I'm going to have to walk like half a football field to go get this damn thing. So we were going to do it. We rigged it up and everything was set to spray it on the windows. And because it was rigged up like that and it was 4:00 in the morning and we hadn't tested it on a human, it didn't just bubble. It sprayed and created this big, ridiculous,
he stayed in character. You used the shot.
He stayed in character the whole shot
awesome.
in the movie, and it looks great. And we're like, okay, we're going to work through the methodology of how we do this moving forward. But in the meantime, that was freaking awesome. Great job, everybody. And he was a trooper. The Brian Scalaro had the blood incident, and his death is well, a spoiler, but that scene is all that much more memorable because of it. And it's like. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, how did we do, guys? And they're like, well, we're out of blood for the night. I said, okay, but I think we got it. Yeah, it was great.
Better to run out at 4 a.m. than,
Yes, well, they're like, we're going to need more towels. We used too much. We're out of blood. They said, what do you mean we're out of blood? Did they spray it on the windows? And we're like, kind of. Kind of, yeah.
Well, they all had a lot of blood, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Do we? We gotta. At some point we gotta bring up
the dick in the room.
Can we?
You can just call me Steve. That's fine.
How much props to Rachel for absorbing all that blood while having a penis in her mouth? All right, where did this concept come from? Because that's hilarious.
Amy, you want to take that one? Amy, you want to take that one?
Do you, Amy, or whose idea was that?
I feel like we know whose idea it was.
Yeah, I think let's guess whose idea this was.
Well, ChatGPT comes up with has having a dream. No, it was me. Before I even had a fully fleshed out script. I don't know where it came from. I just know the words bloody blowjob drifted through my head. And for whatever reason, it's just something that stayed with me. And I'm like, how would this even work? Where would the mouse come from? Where would we have to be? Where would there's just so many elements to it. And I've taken more meetings about this one freaking locker room scene than I have anything in my life ever. We have to talk about the regular size prop and what are they going to model it on? We have the intimacy coordinators and what's the wardrobe and how much blood and where's it going to come from and who are you going to cast?
And then David has to kick one. And so that has to be the oversized.
Oh,
that's right. That's right.
And then we have to send it overseas, and there's all of these laws about nudity and stuff with your overseas vendors. I never actually told you that they had some issues with what they were allowed to work on because it's in different countries.
I
for the VFX, they were like, your movie could never be released here. We have to we're not even supposed to have this footage on our servers. All this crazy stuff.
The movie rating changes depending on the level of excitement.
Sure. It's like a whole thing. And it was
a lot of professionals talked a lot about
very seriously about the member, the unit, the item, it was just.
Now we've been calling it the hammer. Which I like.
Yes, okay. People have been calling it the hammer because of
that's justified.
Yeah,
but the question is where is the big prop now?
Yeah.
What, like, where did that big prop
Everyone
end
keeps
up?
asking that.
Everyone wants to know where it is. I know where the regular size one is. I do not
don't
know
where the big one
the
is.
big
Someone
one. We're
took it,
not
man.
sure where the big one is.
One of your actors took it.
I think one of the actors took it. I know where the balls of the big one is.
That we do know where those. Yeah, that we know because we had to.
Someone turned it into a flower pot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upcycling? Is that what they call upcycling?
Yes, so
And the
That's
most
sweet.
bizarre movie
that's
memorabilia.
the art department for you, you know. They
you go.
like
But it was such a crazy scene, and we had to plan it in such detail. But we knew that, like, I really wanted it to not just be shocking, but I wanted it to be funny shocking.
Yeah.
So it is intentionally like because there have been other scenes sort of like this in the past, and it's very intentionally like certain shots that are just not in it at all, and why you don't see certain wounds, and why like it's trying to not objectify the actors, and so there was a balance to make sure it stayed shocking and funny and not sort of gross in a bad way and weird. And I cast two amazing actors that I had worked with and we had talked through, and they were totally game and down, because we didn't want to hide it or trick anybody into thinking we weren't doing exactly what we were doing, and they trusted us. And it was a closed set, so there's just a few people in the room just sitting there, and we're just sort of working it through and making sure that we're checking in and that we're all happy. And I think there's at one point I'm there. I actually went to high school not only with the producers of Terrifier who produced this film, but I also went to high school with the actor who's in that locker room scene. And there is a point where I'm with the camera, so I'm on my knees on the ground next to the monitor watching this scene play out, and they're changing a light or something. And I looked up at him and I was like, Pete, when we were in high school, all those years ago, did you ever think that this is where we'd end up covered in blood, half naked on the Staten Island ferry? And he goes, no, Steve, I went to art school. And I'm like, yeah, I went to art school too, buddy. So,
And here we are.
here we are. Dreams really do come true.
They do. What now? But just by looking at Rachel, was that her first movie? Like, was that her introduction into making a movie?
No,
I
she's
think
done
she's
other
been
movies for
doing
sure.
some like short films and things like that. I think she has a short film coming out, but
Sure.
she was such a team player and really committed and wanted to do it and wanted to have a big scream moment. And she did a great job.
Yeah.
She did. You could tell she really gave it her all. We're gonna do this. Let's just do it.
And the first time we did it, we shot that on like our last day of production in New York. And so at that point, like, we're not going to pay to ship blood back to Los Angeles where Quantum Effects is and all that stuff. So at that point, we're like, let the blood rip kind of thing. And we did one whole version of the scene, and we had shot it. And it's cold and she's sticky, and she's wearing a modesty robe and stuff. I'm like, that was great. You did such a good job. Wow, even better than I could have imagined. And she got really quiet, and she looked at me and she goes, do we need to do it again? I said, no, we don't have to do it again. That was awesome. She's like, I got one more in me. I said, well, if you want to do it again, how much blood do we have left? And Cody with the blood gun is like, we got blood. Let's do it. I said, okay. And all of those shots are what made it into the movie, because she was like, no, I know we just did it. Let's reset. Let's try it again. I think I could give it more.
Oh, nice.
And
if you insist, we'll do it again.
Right. We'll do it again. She's like, but if we have to do it a third time, you're going to be my double. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Get the wig on standby.
The funniest part is when we revisit the member and it comes back again, that actor who plays Tommy is, I mean, the most prestigious actor of all of us. He's a theater actor. He runs a theater company. He's
like a true thespian
character the whole time.
Very method.
Just very, just a
laser,
very
just locked
actor.
in. And I'm like, you sure you want to do this? And he was like, absolutely. And I think that's what makes it funny to me, because it's whenever they're trying to get us to like cut the talking or cut the lines or whatever. I'm like, the only reason the gag is not funny because of the way it looks. It's funny because his character has been set up this whole time.
He deserved it.
He deserved it. And I think like that's what makes the moment land so much more than it was the thing designed well. Of course it was designed well, but I think, his performance is what makes that funny. And there's other shots in the movie that I don't think made it in, where we're doing like crowd scenes and he's just walking around like he's got to stick up his butt, and it's just like the man is he's just so committed to the role, and he was like, "Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm going to bring everyone I know to come see it." I'm like, "You sure about that?
Are you sure?
Yes, I do. So
But
how many
it gets
times,
a huge laugh. He
Yeah.
should be proud, and I know he is.
how many times did you have to film to make it drop just perfectly?
I feel
Easily
like
8,
so many.
because it's like a loop. We had because you drop it, you have to clean the makeup, and then you drop it. Like Gravity's just going to do what it does. So there's all these takes where it does this, or it misses him, or it hits him and it stays there. And the one where it landed and it touched just a little bit of his lip, we're like, that's the one right there.
Yeah.
That's why I moments like that are why I get out of bed in the morning.
I'm curious, how do you get your hands on a Staten Island ferry to how long was the shoot, and how does it work that you're shooting on the Staten Island ferry, and how did that all come to be?
We shot on the ferry for 24 days, right?
Oh,
We
wow.
were
Okay.
on the ferry. 20 of them on the decommissioned ferry, and then 4-ish in the terminal, and then on the actual moving ferry. But if you shoot on the ferry, which you can do in New York, no problem. You can get a little permit, easy to do, but you have to get off on each side. So you can shoot for 25 minutes, get off, turn around, and come back. So it was going to be impossible.
Interesting,
we have some
yeah.
beautiful scenes that were at 3 a.m, 4 a.m over Mother's Day weekend, where it was hopefully going to be more quiet, and but the decommissioned ferry is such a character in the movie. The ferry that we used was such a character in the movie. It's a ferry you grew up riding, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's very
wow.
likely that is the ferry where I came up with this idea, because I've had this idea since I was in college.
Okay.
And that ferry was been in commission for 2 decades at least. So, I mean, I was definitely, there is footage of me on that exact ferry with the producers of Terrifier, like videos of us like asking people questions and interviewing them on the boat and taking it into Manhattan to go shoot some other silly stuff. So that's like, to come back and be able to shoot on the actual ferry that inspired this all those years ago is really wild. And, I don't know what it is about Staten Island, but there's a lot of really awesome independent filmmakers and artists that come from Staten Island. Something about the vibe of being sort of suburban, but being right there near New York City. Like, I mean, we're New Yorkers with a forgotten borough, but we are New Yorkers. And, it's just the Staten Island community just comes together because, I mean, New York City is very film friendly for sure. But on Staten Island, it's a lot of small businesses, a lot of mom and pop shops, a lot of just like regular folks going about their day. So when they get behind something like an independent film or your play or an art or whatever, like the community really turned out. We're able to connect us with some folks that were able to get us access to this boat. And the movie would not be possible without it. So, I mean, it's a love letter to New York and my hometown of Staten Island. But it would not have been possible without Staten Island. Like, it wouldn't have made sense to build this ship on a soundstage in Atlanta and then like just fudge it. Like there's something very New York in the air. And also in the crew, all their accents are really, really thick. And
right.
Jesse Posey, who plays Pete, would listen to the crew and be like, "Hey, say this line for me real quick," to help him get the accent into his ear. And I think he pulled it off.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, he's not from that area.
Oh no, he's a California guy.
Okay. What about you, Amy? Are you a native New Yorker?
No, not at all. I'm actually from Seattle.
Okay. Because you play a New York EMT very well. I mean, it plays. So yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. I knew I don't have a New York accent in me, so I knew my character I can't be married to this guy and do a bad New York accent in the movie. Like, I'm just not willing to subject myself to that. So that's when we ended up making my character, from somewhere else. But no, I'm a West Coaster.
So how did you two meet? I'm assuming through film?
Yeah, on set. What was it, 8 years ago, I was producing a sword fighting film, a sword fight. And so I was making a short film, a series that we ended up making, and a friend introduced us and we hired him to direct it. And we ended up taking that film around to a whole bunch of different festivals. It had a long life for a short film, and over time.
We just kept going to these events and sitting next to each other, and we realized maybe it's not promoting the movie that we enjoy, maybe it's each other's company. So now we kept making movies together, and
it was done weeks ago. Why do you keep going? So
right?
Steve,
Why do you keep going to these festivals?
what did you fall in love with? Her kicking ass or getting all bloody, or wasn't that in the gore phase quite yet 9 years ago?
We weren't in the gore phase yet. It was definitely kicking ass. There's something about that. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's me, but there's something about a strong female who can be vulnerable, getting in there and kicking ass. And it's always been so fun to craft stories or see you be in stories where Amy's so nice on the day-to-day basis. So having her be mean or watching her take a punch and get up and throw one back, I think is just so awesome. She's like she can play, a mom, but, with an arsenal in her basement. It's, it's very fun. I married my own warrior princess.
Well, so where did you get into stunts first or acting?
Acting for sure, but I've always as a kid I thought I wanted to be a stunt double, and I had this alter ego. I really wanted to be an American Gladiator as a very young child. But no, acting first for sure. But okay. I just always I was drawn to action and action movies and wanted to be in them, and so then I started training stunts and trying to do as many as I can that my characters play.
Did you ever go to stunt school or anything?
Yeah. There's several stunt classes and groups and training around here. So I did a lot of that. Hand-to-hand, sword, wire work, that sort of thing. Wow.
Perfect, which pays off. So this is my lead into your Star Wars short film that's not released anywhere.
Oh, yeah. It is not released anywhere.
It's not. It's a concept piece. We were the first.
I was looking for it. Looking for it.
Because I've been dropping little nuggets of it. It was set to have this big release during the pandemic, all set to go. It was going to be a whole thing. This, concept. It's a cool film. It's maybe like an 9-minute short film we made together. And then I realized, because we couldn't do it, we got shut down. We didn't end up getting to do the big plan. We never did anything with it. So now I've been dropping little nuggets of it.
And the fun fact, we are the first Star Wars movie to shoot on the volume, to use LED walls and stuff, because the Mandalorian, it either hadn't shot yet or it hadn't been released that they were doing all of that LED wall stuff yet. So so we have a speeder bike chase in this movie, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. We can make we can make it be sunset for 8 hours, and we can have the background be moving, and I could cue lasers and they explode in behind them, and the light is real and reactive. And I thought, man, that's really awesome. And then 6 months into the pandemic, they're like, oh, well, the Mandalorian uses this LED wall, and it's crazy because you can go and you can have sunset for 6 hours. I'm like, you sons of bitches. That was my line. We did it first. I'm the first Star Wars director to do LED wall.
Okay, that's great to know.
The speeder bike chase, I'm gonna drop that one next, I think. I'd love to do something with it. I'd love to expand on all of that. But.
It's a very cool concept piece.
I did see you put the fight scene out on May 4th.
Yes.
Well, that made me excited to see more. So I kept looking for it, but then I saw, it's not released.
Oh yeah, it's unreleased. That's one of the movie is basically like John Wick with Jedi. I mean, it's a fight movie. It's a fight movie with enough story to get you to the fight after fight after fight.
There's a really cool.
Could you be more excited than John Wick mixed with?
It's really violent.
It is fun.
I love it.
This guy he's going to be emailing you nonstop.
When's it released?
You've just hit 2 buttons.
We definitely showed it. We showed it at Gen Con. I think it won Best Fan Film at Gen Con that year. And there's a moment in the
Con, I think.
And we were everywhere pre-pandemic, and there's a moment in the very beginning. I've never seen a Jedi do this before, except in a video game, and everyone always goes, "Ooh!" And I'm like, I think I meant to be making horror films, Amy. That's messed up.
Well, it was really. I just want to say, as a kid, really cool to see, in that fight scene. Not to give it away, but the sword, the double edge, and then it got cut in the middle, and then she just kept going with 2 different swords. That was really, really cool.
Isn't that was our stunt coordinator and choreographer, Terrence Rotolo, I think came up with that idea, and I loved it. I love it because doing double saber is one of my favorite, like as a stunt performer, one of my favorite things to do. So when it breaks open and then you keep going, that's a cool moment. That was a fun shoot.
It was
and
very fun.
the 501st came and we ran around in the woods and they were all in their really cool gear.
And at one point, the one of the folks that came with the suits and the armor and all that stuff, he's like, I have an Ewok costume, and my daughter at the time, she was like 3 feet tall or something. She's like, and I said, can I have the Ewok? And they said, you can have her for 10 minutes. You can do it because it gets too hot and it's too much, and she's too young, and she's a child. But you can have an Ewok for 10 minutes. And I was like, I will make that work. And there's one shot in the movie with the damn Ewok, and it's like a professional highlight to have all the stormtroopers standing around and be like, okay, we're ready. Send in the Ewok. And then she comes down, no mask on, just sweating. Hey, where do you want me to go, Steve? And I'm like, put your mask on and stop talking. Also, take this picture with me.
You wasted a minute. Go back.
Right. Go back in your cave. No graham crackers until you finish your scene.
Well, I'm super excited. Not to get away from him. We'll go back to Screamboat. But my last question about you two is: did I see what day did you get married?
April 29th.
That's my birthday.
Hey, there you go. That's why
birthday.
you should have come with us to Mexico.
Yeah, we got married in Mexico. It was awesome.
It was all inclusive. It was all inclusive. So there were plenty of cocktails flowing at that point.
You do not want him in Mexico all inclusive. No. I go on vacation with him where it's exclusive, where we have to spend money for the drinks.
Right.
It's too much. So no.
Hey,
We had a look. It was a beautiful time, but I definitely remember there's a moment in our ceremony where the folks who were celebrating, who wrote the Mean One, and they also wrote our wedding ceremony, and they're like, look out at the crowd and remember this moment of everyone that's here supporting you. And my family's in the front row, and her family's in the front row, and they're tearing up, they're crying, they're emotional, and then like halfway back, all of our friends are sunburned
and just
sweating, tequila. Just holding on for dear life because they got there a day early.
There was a moment getting ready for the wedding, and I was out on my patio with my bridal party, getting ready, and I look down at the pool, and I can see our friends partying at the pool. And
really
I'm like,
hard.
Okay, I mean, you guys have like an hour and a half to pull your shit together.
if it wasn't for friends pushing to the edge, they wouldn't be your friends.
Right, that's right. It was a good time for sure.
Well, I thought I saw a 2-year anniversary, and that's when I saw the date. So I wanted to, confirm that.
Nope, that's it for sure.
I'll just wait for the invitation for your 5-year anniversary.
That's it. We're going back.
We're going back to Mexico.
Going back to Mexico. Not all of us are going to make it back to America, and that's okay.
Oh, gee. So there you go. Now we can go back to Screamboat Willie.
On to serious business. The miniature murder mouse movie.
Yes,
I am curious. Stuff. As a director and as an actor, do you feel better when you get the big laugh or when you get the big ugh? Which one do you like better?
Amy,
for me, I like the laugh.
Yeah,
I like the laugh.
For me, it's got to be both because that's the movie that we made. So like I know that's like it's a non-answer, but all of the kills are paced out more or less in the same way, which is tension, gross out, and then laugh. Like that's always like the order that I try to go.
Like relief,
with every single one it's like tension, fear, funny, and I think I kind of need both. Otherwise, it doesn't jive for me. Like I want them to go ooh and then go like that's like if they don't laugh, I feel like that just lets that that's what's supposed to let the air out of the scene and remind you that I'm not a total psycho. So I need them to laugh for my own personal validation. Otherwise, Willie's gonna get mean.
So then that brings me just made me think of a question. Would you ever do just a straight up horror movie, or do you need that laughter?
I could. I definitely think I could. I mean, inherently, I think any horror film, I don't know that I'd really want to do something unsettling. I think there's enough like dark, awful stuff in the world. I like movies like that for sure. Sometimes you want to watch something and be like, man, that really left left an impact on me. But I'm not
Yeah.
super, I don't know. I don't really feel like I think there's a lot of people doing it way better than I could. So I don't know that I'd really feel compelled to make something that's just a straight horror movie, because I watch movies as an escapism. So I like things
As
that
we
are
all-
fun
yeah.
and scary. And I think an R-rated horror comedy gives you the opportunity to do scares and do blood and not have it be like, oh, we're torturing these poor women, he's cutting them to shreds. Like, oh, no, it's funny. They're awful. We can laugh. It's okay. We all know it's not real. And you have that contract with the audience that you're allowed to laugh at it. So I think probably not. No, I'd make a hardcore, like really violent action movie for sure. But I think horror,
Okay.
straight horror might be too much for me.
That's kind of what I think. I feel like thriller and action are two genres of films I like to watch, but I think we enjoy making. So I don't know that like a slasher or straight horror movie is not what I typically watch anyway. And so I don't know that I would really lean into that. Like you said, I think there are people who are doing it better than we do it.
Well, there are a lot of them out there, and I do want to say the birthday party girls. Kind of wanted them to get killed. I'm not gonna lie.
They're intentionally written to be the worst.
You did your job right, because I just wanted them to. Yeah,
We've all seen them. We've all been at the bar with those ladies,
right?
Yeah.
You know what that is. I mean, they're so great too, because they played off each other. Their chemistry was so well.
did.
We auditioned them individually and then in groups to make sure that they would gel and they would jive, and I could throw improvs at them. And poor Kaylee Hyman, who plays Cindy.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, we have this scene. I just came up with this idea the night before. I'm like, hey, we're going to have you guys at the bar. You're mad it's closed. Can you do like a toast? Because the cameras will be set up. The lights will be there. It takes forever to get them all in hair and makeup and wardrobe and bolted and stitched in. I'm like, can you do like a toast? You can improv, have fun with it. And so there's like 4 other toasts that she did that are all different from the one that ended up in 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy birthday to my horse. Like she did a whole bunch of different ones. And, it's just like her burden that I would be like, oh, that was funny. So then she's back on set 2 weeks later. I'm like, Kaylee, I have another idea. Can you do, you're walking around outside, and I think it'd be funny if you just like talked the whole time you walked. And she's like, isn't that scene supposed to be scary? I said, yeah, but it'll be scary because you're talking. So make up something. And then so she had to come up with all this stuff, and she's so funny that I get the credit for it.
Funny.
It's great.
She is funny.
She did great. Yeah.
Has a lot of natural comedy to her, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, did you write some of those characters after? You don't have to admit it, but people you know.
Not actual people that I know, but definitely people we've ridden the ferry with, because
Gotcha.
I was taking the
I'd love to
ferry
ride
in
a ferry
college.
someday, just for experience.
Oh yeah.
You ride it late night, you'll see some stuff, because
For real.
I would imagine.
we took the boat. I mean, I've taken the boat thousands of times in my life, and I've definitely taken the boat coming back from college on a Saturday night after staying out late at the library. And I'd be coming home from they use much smaller boats late at night. So you see a lot of crazier stuff. And back then the ferry was once an hour at 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was just packed with people who between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. had just been like filling up the space, and they had been partying, and then they all spill onto this boat and they're trapped. No cell service, no rules. Like it would just, you'd see some crazy stuff. And so we wanted to go back once we were tinkering with the script and we were going back for casting. We're like, let's ride the boat and just see if there's anything we can draw from this experience. So we went, we had dinner, we went to the bar, we had a couple of drinks, we got oversized beers, and we just rode the ferry back and forth between like 10 o'clock at night and 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And it really
does it go all night?
24/7.
Yes.
Yeah, it runs 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can bring beer with you?
You
can buy it in the terminal and bring it on.
But back in the day, you used to buy it on the boat, but it's only a 25-minute ride. So like the 6 o'clock ferry, the line would be from the bar all the way to the end of the boat, where people are like, as soon as it takes off, because people, you can see the sunrise or the sunset at that time. Beautiful view, the Statue of Liberty and the sunset. And it's the end of a long day and you're working your job at, whatever bean counting firm they're working at. And so people would line up for these beers. And so I remember you couldn't buy a beer in the terminal at the time. So you'd get a beer on the boat, you waited online, you'd finally find a seat, you'd crack it open, and then you'd hear, the ferry will be docking shortly. And you'd have to look around and you're like, oh no, I have to put this thing back. So yeah, we definitely saw some stuff. And a lot of what's in that is based on real things that I'd seen or real nights that I had witnessed from a distance, not been a part of. And
nods to like infamous, like the naked guy,
Naked cowboy.
naked cowboy, like nods to characters or type of people that are
New York.
the awful street performer in the messed up Elmo costume, like all of it. Like it's all love letters to like real stuff that I really wanted it to feel like, not like we were doing Guys and Dolls caricature in New York, but I wanted to do like the real ridiculous side. If there are some real characters, you go to New York, you hang out in a New York deli on Staten Island, and you won't believe the accents. You're like, how is this real? And so we, Amy did a great job casting those people, and they all went home, and if they didn't have the accent inherently, they did the work and tried to like follow and listen and study, and I think everybody got it. I'm very proud.
One of the funniest with the mouse was when he was at the counter and the churro, he just turned the price from $6.99 to $9, and he giggled so laugh like an inside like he's murdering people. But this is what makes me laugh.
I'm so glad you got that joke. That is the most expensive joke in the history of cinema. We had to shoot that thing. It took we shot that over the course of 3 days. We had to shoot it with David. We had to shoot it with the puppet. We had to shoot it with the kid. We had to shoot it with the board. We had to shoot it with his hand. We had to shoot it with the tiles. Like we just shot all of these pieces to make it work, because I had it storyboarded out, but maybe it's not funny. Maybe it doesn't work. The puppet doesn't look real. Let's do, all of these different things.
And then the puppet finger has to be able to turn it. But then David's finger has to be on the double side.
It was just madness doing this. And then we needed giant bottles. And then it was just like so crazy. And it's just one of those things you would not expect to be as difficult as it was. But that's like part of what makes the movie funny, is if he was really that small, you wouldn't be thinking about your budget or your time or your schedule. You'd just be thinking, that's just a funny joke. And it ended up being like the bane of my existence was this stupid churro scene.
It's funny. It's
worth it.
To those people who get it, it's very funny.
And then whenever they bring it up, I feel like, okay, we can put a few dollars back into the bean, like into my jar of happiness, because they're like, oh, that scene was funny. I'm like, oh, thank God. It was so hard.
It was worth it.
It was just the way he giggled. Yes, it was worth it.
I'm curious. We obviously have a lot of comedians on the podcast. I'm curious how you got Joe DeRosa to do the small part that he did. Are you personal friends with him, or?
I'm not, but the Fuzz and the Lens guys are.
Okay.
And they've actually done a bunch of work with the Impractical Joker, so that's how they know Brian Quinn, and they roll in that world, and they're big in the comedy scene. And both of those guys are huge into horror films, and we're like, hey, if you I think they were at an event, and they were like, hey, if you have anything, we're going to be in town on these days. If you have anything, we'd love to be in the movie. And so I had written something much different and smaller for them. And I said, okay, here's the scene. This is a joke, and it's going to be good. And they're like, oh man, we were really hoping you could spray us with blood. And I was like, we got the guys over there. We can totally, if you're sure, we could do that. And so it turned out the joke was funnier for them to just be covered in blood, but the only way to have realistic blood spatter is to just be sprayed. So I do have footage of both of those guys getting sprayed with blood. Maybe it'll be on like a special feature somewhere. And they were great. They were so game to do it. Another a comedy club owner came in and was the guy that operated the hose, and he didn't turn it off at the right time because he thought it was funny. It's just a blast. Again, no one should let us make movies. We just have too much fun.
They came prepared though. They came knowing they were going to ask you to do that, because they both had a change of clothes. They were both ready to we're going to go get sprayed with blood.
You never know till someone shows up if they're, how down they are, and you're like, oh yeah, and then there'll be blood, but it's really good blood, but it is sticky. And, we use the finest blood. It smells like maple syrup. It's easy to clean. But somebody has to want to get it in their hair, otherwise.
Well, when you're making the next one, if you need two podcasters to get sprayed with blood, I'm just saying.
Oh, there you go.
I don't want to say a line, but you can spray me with all the blood. That's fine.
I love it. Fantastic. And if it doesn't make the cut, it's just for my own personal archive. That'll just be what that is. That's fine.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Anytime.
So that you mentioned the DVD. How does the DVD have some behind the scenes stuff and like deleted scenes or anything like that?
Yeah, we're working on it now. We're working on what the extra things
special
will be.
Collector's edition will feature.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff that could go on there.
Yeah, there's deleted scenes. We have making of assets. We have
blooper stuff,
footage of us on the boat and all the crazy gore gags and props. You could see what they looked like really on the boat, a commentary track. When the movie first came out, the goal was just to get like a really basic version that was really budget friendly. And then this collector's edition will be out a little later, and it'll have a lot more good stuff to it.
Cool.
And that's what I want, because I love that shit. I love the commentary, and that's what I live for. So I'd be definitely looking for that.
It's a great reason to, I think, to wear the DVD like they used to, because they're trying to have a value add for like, oh, well, if you're going to get a DVD, we got to put some stuff on it. And I really think that, not it's a lost art, but it is something that like you don't get extras when you download a streaming thing.
Right.
And, and right after you watch it, like I love that the HBO does this, like after the show drops, or like watch a little featurette of how they did it. But just listening to the commentary, especially if it's like an artist you really dig, you're like, I like listening to any of the directors that I really like working with, or some of the actors, like even some of the comedies. I mean, the Tropic Thunder commentary track, Robert Downey Jr. is changing characters as they come on screen. Like he's doing all these different accents.
I've never heard it.
It's ridiculous. It's so silly. But like it's like a whole new light into watching the movie, just hearing these people banter. And
so it's funny you say that, because literally this last weekend, I own the movie Meatballs, right? The old comedy with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Which I rebought it this weekend because it was a special edition with Ivan Reitman, who was the producer, did a commentary. So I rebought it just so I could listen to him speak about it through the movie. Because that's how much I love that shit. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
It's so cool because it's so conversational, and it's like before podcasts were even really a thing. The commentary track was always like, because it's the director and the star, or the producers or the writers, and they're just sitting there long form. They're in a booth at a whatever sound house, and they're just sitting there having a meandering conversation. And you just, depending on the mood of the person, like I've definitely heard like oh my goodness, one of my favorites is I think it's Kurt Russell and John Carpenter talking about Big Trouble in Little China, and just hear those two guys just chopping it up is really, really fun.
I've listened to that.
And I've seen the movie, and I've seen the movie. So it's not like I'm like need to follow the plot, and just hearing them casually just, talk about it. They're not on a stage and not putting on a show. They're just like letting it rip is super fun. So I like doing them, and I like listening to them for sure.
Well, I'm definitely gonna look forward to it. And I think you just did with the mean one, right?
We did.
Yeah.
So I gotta look that up.
That's a nice collector's edition. It's in a steel book. It has a commentary track that we did, and then it has a 35-minute like making of that goes into everything: the makeup, the stunts, the story, the worldwide reaction to like a viral video that turned into a theatrical, whatever it was.
And the guy who does the voiceover for the mean one does sort of a voiceover track over it, and he's so funny that it like really makes it very like cheeky and watchable. Yeah.
Well, if you track sales within 10 minutes of us clicking off here, you'll have another one sold because he'll.
Oh, great! Yeah, it's super fun.
He's already on his phone with his feet. I guarantee it.
That's so awesome. I think on Amazon it might be the same price. Like I think they did some kind of price matching thing where it's like the same price as the Blu-ray or something. But the collector's edition
of that one is really nice.
Yeah, turned out great.
Looks really good.
That's awesome.
Well, okay. I was because I thought, and I saw that before just before we came on, and I thought it was because you do have the meanones.com with merchandise, and it's so. Is it on there, or should I go to? Where you get the most out of it.
Oh, the Amazon.
It's not there.
No, Amazon is your best bet for that for sure. Yeah.
Well, like you said, I will be doing that tonight.
But I appreciate the ask. I mean, look, the just watching the movie. I mean, all the deals are kind of the same. I mean, if you buy something directly from us, be it merch or a copy of the movie, if we have them, it helps. But just the fact that you're supporting, the difference is for us anyway, is really negligible. So you watch the film and you rate it, you tell people that you liked it. That's the best thing people can do to support us.
Okay. So you mentioned the mean one. We're talking about the mean one, which also David Howard Thornton is in that. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention how brilliant David is. And a guy who never says a word in any of the movies he's in and makes such an impact on all of them is crazy. How did you first get hooked up with David?
We were working on the mean one, and Terrifier 2 hadn't come out. Terrifier 1 had. And it was suggested that we watch Terrifier 1 to see his performance in thinking about him as the mean one. And I think we knew kind of right away. We approached him about it. He was super excited about it. It was a character he had played in like a high school musical performance he did, or no, he toured with it.
He toured with it on Broadway. Yeah, he was in a national tour.
And it was funny
Jim
because
Carrey
at the
stole
time
from him.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's the only logical explanation.
But Terrifier 2 hadn't come out yet. No one knew that movie was going to do what it did. And so, we worked with David before any of that happened. And he's just as down to earth, obviously, at this point. Not obviously. He is just as down to earth now as he was before then. But the difference in like what changed over the course of that Terrifier 1 release and Terrifier 2 and booking him as the mean one was massive.
Because we used to go to take our meetings in public, and now we can't because he's getting stopped, and we go to events where where they're signing and his line is out the door. I mean, it's and it's not unwarranted. I mean, he's so talented and he brings so much to it. And from the mean one and the Screamboat with Willie, I mean, he just did the research. He wanted to do the characters justice, and he's trying to manipulate the prosthetics and also do the poses, and it's extremely physically demanding. He could do the whole role in a bodysuit, like in a leotard with no mask and no makeup, and it would still be very impressive, the life he brings to it. But being able to be in like what is in essence a suit of medieval armor and then still be able to work for 12 hours and perform and be expressive and whistle and like put life and energy into this. He's not lumbering around. His face is in this thing. And, it was designed around him, around his Terrifier Art the Clown face. We got his head from another makeup shop up the street and they made the Willie sculpt out of that. Nice. And, it's just, he just brings so much life to it. And it's so important. I mean, even with something like the nose moves, that's not like cables or pulleys or servos. That's all him. He found a way to do it with like moving and manipulating his face. And we saw, he's like, I can move the nose, right? And he went and he did this thing. And we're like, oh my God, how did you do that? I'm like, Christian, did you do that? And he was like, we just put it on him. He figured that out on his own. It's really cool. Yeah, he's great.
He's very talented.
So I did read.
And there's he's got no stunt double. He's got no stunt double. And between the prosthetic, other than the puppet, like between the prosthetics and the makeup, it's built around his face. So there really is only one Steamboat Willie, and it's David Howard Thornton.
Wow. That like 2 weekends ago or last weekend, he was at like a horror com, and they had to turn people away that his line was so long and that there was just like, we have to close. And people were still lined up that they wanted his autograph, and they put out a thing saying, we apologize, but there was just too many people that you couldn't fit them all in a day. And
he would stay there and he would keep signing for sure. He's so gracious and so nice. He knows he has so many fans and they love what he does. But at a certain point, like they have to lock the doors and the staff has to go home. And so they, it turns into a thing, but I've never seen him say no to don't quote me on this, but I've never seen him say no or be anything other than kind and gracious.
He gives everyone a little bit of time and really personalized attention, and he's genuine. He's not
he loves
putting on a facade. He's really doing,
which is
it was 100%
crazy for a guy who plays such a
yeah. It was the show that had to just we're the hours are done. Sorry, and I don't see him as take the here you go, goodbye, kid. He talks to them. So I want to stress that it was like the show that had to close, not him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Because we've seen that too, where his line is cut off early, and then people just come back the next day, things like that. But the difference of that and when we were first doing the mean one, night and day.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we didn't get into it, and that we could speak another hour on the mean one. We
talked about it prior. If you guys would be willing to come back, we would love to have you back around Christmas to talk about the mean one and do like a little Christmas movie edition. So
that'd be super fun.
We'd love to. We love talking about that film. We had so much fun making it. We did a lot of crazy stuff on that movie. Just the two of us. I made the mean one's shoes, and Amy painted his Cindy's shotgun. Like we were. It's a much.
Made that movie.
We really made that movie.
That's awesome. It's so cool. That's what's so cool about India is just the how you guys just work through everything and
so
I love it.
The only thing I want to say about it is there is a line in there, and how you knew this, but the quote of the liver the size of Wisconsin.
That's right.
Where we live in Wisconsin.
Oh, there you go. I think that might have. I'm not sure. I think that Flip came up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I love
something to
it.
think
So
about for
fun.
if you come back.
I
Okay.
forgot that was in there.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Flip.
so fun.
And I'd love to talk about Flip. So, anyways,
Yeah.
we've kept you. We love, like I said, we could talk another hour. We appreciate this so much, but we
Yeah.
don't want to keep overstay our welcome with you by any means.
Well, we
Thanks
so
for
enjoyed
having
chatting
us.
with you. Thanks for having us, and supporting the movie and telling people that you like it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's next? What's on the horizon?
Oh, we are not.
I'm sure you're taking a well-needed break, well-deserved break, but
Trying. We're trying.
We're
It's
trying. We're trying, but the enthusiasm behind what we just did, and
Yeah.
the answer to that question is keeps us busy. Is what I'll say. We can't really talk about what we're working on at the moment. We have some really cool
Sure.
things bubbling, but I can definitely say that there are more stories left to tell with Steamboat Willie and the Staten Island ferry. So
well, whatever it is, we'll be there to watch it for sure.
Can't wait.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
that.
Where can they find you? Both of you, let them know where's the best place to look you two up, and where to find the movie the best.
Yes. So my across social media, I'm Amy Schumacher Official, mostly on Instagram, Threads, that sort of thing. And the movie is Screamboat Movie on all platforms. And you are?
Yes, and I'm. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at Stephen LaMorte. And then the movie, in addition to having a website, screamboatmovie.com, we also have Steamboat merch. Screamboat merch, excuse me. That's on the Sleight of Hand store. And you can just Google it and you'll see we have Screamboat shirts and hats and some more cool stuff happening. So make sure you follow the movie at Screamboat to be the first to find out when we drop new stuff, because there's things that people have been asking for since before the movie came out that is coming, later this year. And
Awesome.
if you want to see the movie, it's on all the usual platforms, Amazon, Apple TV. You can watch it on your cable box on demand or in demand, whatever it's called. And the DVD and Blu-ray are available now. And there's a special edition coming eventually if I have my way. So to be continued.
Awesome. Well, I want to say from both of us, we absolutely love the movie. And after talking to you, I think I love it even more. You guys are awesome to talk with. And I can't wait to watch it a second time because I want to go back and catch more of the Easter eggs. And
Oh,
it's
there's
definitely
so
a movie
many.
you can watch multiple times. So
Yeah.
There's so many. There really is. We should do something on the special edition where we point them out or something. Like remember pop-up video from back in the day?
That's fun. We're
yeah.
going to turn it into a little drinking game. So,
You'll end up with a liver as big as Wisconsin.
That's right.
Yes.
There you go. And there it is. Work it right in.
All right.
I
Thank
can't
you guys
wait
very
for
much.
it. Such a pleasure
All
meeting
right.
you.
Bye. Thank
Great
you
chatting
so much.
with you. Have a great
You
day.
as well.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Night.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.